Hi there. It's me, Liz, with Liza Jane Designs. I am trying to eliminate any feedback and echo here. I don't know if I'm going to be successful, but welcome to my channel and my Facebook page. Today, we're going to do some playing around with this new kit. It's the Debi's DIY Paint Color Recipe Craft Kit. So today I'm working with the warm edition. I do have these available in my shop online or in the store in Afton. So if you follow my page, you guys know that I am an Iron Orchid Designs retailer, stockist. I carry all of the transfers and stamps and various and sundry, everything IOD. I'm also a Debi's DIY paint retailer, and I have all of Debi's things here in the shop, but also most of the kits that Debi and her crew have put together, I'm carrying those in the shop now as well. So this is the color mixing kit. It's the most recent one, and I think it's super fun. I saw someone watching and they left. I hope it wasn't because of my hat. My hat is a new addition because my hair's a mess. Can't wear ball caps. This works, and we're using Cowgirl Coral and Fresh Farm Girl or Farmhouse Fresh or Fancy Farm Girl. That's what it is. So we're using those today. I thought, well, I'll be a Fancy Farm Girl in a Cowgirl hat while we mix our warm colors. So I'm going to add my hands. And we're going to make my hands the focal point because that's where all the action is going to happen. I'm going to see if I can watch this on my iPad. So if there are any questions, I can answer them. And if there are not, that's okay. So I'll be right back. So I'm back and I have my iPad so that I can try to see how this is working. Okay. So I'm back and turning the volume down on that so that won't be disruptive, I hope. And we're going to get started here. This way, I hope I can see comments. Okay, 2 people watching. Hello, 2 people watching. How is the sound? Do you have a terrible echo? I'm not seeing comments. All right, here we go. Let's just get started. I'm going to turn that banner, banner on the bottom. We'll get rid of that. We're going to open up this bad boy. Everything you need to do this project is here in the kit. So I'm going to turn this down so you can see me a bit. But here's where all the action is going to be on the table here. So what we have in the kit, we have several custom recipe cards. If you buy a kit, you get a quick video demo from Debi and her niece narrating. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail here. everything that's in here. We've got the paints. In this, because it's the warm version, we have White Swan, Cowgirl Coral, Fancy Farm Girl, Marquee, Hey Sailor, and Liquid Sunshine. You also get a little container of Old School, which is, to me, reminiscent of an old chalkboard color. I have the set of warm stencils, a nice stencil brush, whoops, packing material here, and a piece of canvas drop cloth. So to get started on this project, we'll open up our little canvas drop cloth, smooth it out a bit. You could iron it if these wrinkles bother you, but you could also iron it later with parchment over after we've painted, so that'll work as well. So here we go. I'm opening up the stencil pack. These stencils were done by Jamie Ray Vintage. They're a nice quality, thick stencil. We have DIY color mixing, which is going to go up here on the top. Warm undertones will come down here. And then the truck logo. I'm leaving a little room here in case I want to hide or hang this on a dowel. So that's what that's about. So that, and then coming from the bottom, see how much room. This is the center stripe. So I'm going to begin in the middle and put this one thing up. I forgot my pencil. I have a pen. I don't know that I really want to use a pen, but that's what I have. So I'm going to just lightly use that, because I will be painting over that. Sometimes ink shows up and I don't want it to. So I'm going very lightly with this pen. A pencil would be better. If you had a chalk marker, that might be better yet. I'm going to have room for 5 because I want to leave that little bit extra at the top. So to get the next 2, I am centering this over the last one I did and coming around like so to get my 5. That'll help with placement otherwise. So I'm going to do the same kind of thing here and come in about 1/4 inch from the edge. Line this up at the bottom again and come around very lightly with my pen and trace those openings. I love mixing paint colors. I did the cool color mixing kit at home. I did not record that or anything, but I had a lot of fun doing it. And I discovered a couple of helpful things that I want to share with you. If you think they're helpful, that'll be great. Coming in again about 1/4 inch, so it'll be equally spaced, lining it up on the bottom, lightly tracing in the opening. And again, I'm going to cover that over. So there we go, line that up. And here we go right here and here. So that's our color blocks for the color mixing we're going to create. So I'm going to apply this word stencil. I'm just folding that over, so I'll know that's going to be the top when I put this over a dowel or something. I guess I could fold it down and just put painter's tape. I'm going to tape that down so it doesn't move around while I'm stenciling. Make sure it's reasonably straight on here because I don't want it to be running downhill. I want it to go straight across. So we have DIY color mixing. Gonna tape this one down, and right there, that gets both of them. That opening is there. So we're gonna start with the old school. Gonna pop that open and use the stencil brush that's provided. Just putting a bit, that was a kind of a lot. I'm putting a bit of paint, and I'm gonna offload that onto some paper towel because we want very, very little paint when we stencil. So I'm gonna offload, it's almost dry, but if I come on here and go in circles, I can stencil that nicely. I'm just gonna go back to the paper towel, see if I can get enough off of that. Maybe a little bit more. And offload again. Now we do that so we don't get bleed through under the sides of the stencils. These are a nice thickness. So if we're careful with using the right amount of paint, not too much, and going in circles, we should avoid problems with bleed through. Sally, I see that you are watching. Thank you for that. Can you tell me, is there a terrible echo? I'm still trying to work out sound on these videos. Okay, DIY color mixing. So that's done. Because we use so little paint and because this paint dries so quickly, there that is, DIY color mixing, all stenciled and looking good. So I'm gonna set that one aside and come to the stencil which says warm undertones. And I wanna make sure I'll put the truck on separately, but I want for placement, I think that's pretty good. So this is good here. It's a kind of the W is in between the I and the D if you want to center it like I am, but you center it or place it whatever way you want to. Getting some more paint, offloading it, doing warm undertones. When this is such a little area, I'm kind of pinching these bristles together too. I don't know that I consciously do that, but I notice that's what I'm doing. There's plenty of space here so that I can make my circles without going over. There's our warm undertones. Take that guy away and do the adorable little truck logo right here. I thought about doing the truck itself in Old 57, which I think of as Debi's truck logo color, really, but I'm keeping it just one color up here to I don't have to complicate everything. So here we go with the cute logo. Adorable, love it. So we have DIY color mixing warm undertones. It almost looks like it says worn, like I'm warning you, but I think that definitely is an M. So I'm going to rinse my brush. Got some water here off camera. Rinse that off, and then the fun begins with color mixing. So what I worked out for myself is doing a little side chart. I'm not going to use these recipe cards right away. I'm going to save these for truly wonderful colors that I want to replicate, that I think will be classics for me, and to keep track of everything that I have this little sheet of paper here, and I'm going to set it up the same way with 3 rows of 5 blocks. So start in the middle, I guess, with, here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, this is just going to be a reference. It doesn't have to be gorgeous, but I want some room to write inside the blocks, because this is how I'm going to track all the colors that I do. And then I will probably take 5 or 6 that I love the most and fill out one of these recipe cards for that. So close up this old school. All right. Whoops. Four and 5, so that when this is warm colors. All right, so I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut apart these individual color packets and get started. I guess we'll start with number 1 and number 2. So we have Cowgirl Coral and White Swan. Sometimes these are tricky for me to open. I'm going to open them over the paper and not over my fabric. Just pop that guy open. I'm not being scientific with my measuring, but I do have these little wood sticks. So I'm going to try to make similar sized blobs of paint here. So here's my Cowgirl Coral. Not going to need a lot. I'm going to put that stick with the Cowgirl Coral so I don't make a mess. Here's white, about the same amount. You can see I'm just estimating. And then I am going to use my stencil brush. Make sure that's clean. No black coming off it. Looks good. So I'm just going to mix 1-to-1 Cowgirl Coral and White Swan. And obviously I get a nice peachy color. It's a lot softer than the Cowgirl Coral by itself. And even though I just have a tiny bit, if I moisten it and get some water on the drop cloth too, I can fill that in and I get a lighter coral kind of shade of peach there. So that one was fairly obvious, right? What would happen? So I'm going to try again. I'm going to write it down here. Cowgirl Coral, White Swan, 1:1. So that's my ratio for that peachy color. I have White Swan. I'm going to come in with an equal amount again of Cowgirl Coral, and I'm going to try a little bit of Marquee in there. So I'll get another stick. Red tends to be more powerful, so I'm going to go for like what I think is about half of those other amounts. So this would be 2:1 on that. So we've got 1 part Cowgirl Coral, 1 part White Swan, and a half a part, if you will, which makes a really nice, pretty pink. Ooh, I like that. Reminds me of candy lipstick when I was a kid. Can still taste that candy lipstick. Just coming around with that. Love that color. So this one might end up in on one of my recipe cards here. So number 2 is Cowgirl Coral, White Swan, and Marquee. And I did those, I guess I will say 1, 1, 1/2. So that's my ratio there. Because I'm going to use the same colors again, just the red and Cowgirl Coral. In kind of equal parts here, see what happens. I'm thinking the red will overpower, but maybe not. We'll see what happens. It's kind of a pretty brick color. Maybe more pink than bricks tend to be, but I like that. It's maybe even more candy lipsticky than the last one. So I am just spreading that on, and I like that. So this one is just Marquee and Cowgirl Coral, 1:1. So I'm writing it down. Marquee, I'm going to abbreviate now, just CC, and it's 1:1 for those two to get that mix. Like it. Rinsing the brush a bit. I think I would like to see what happens if I add equal parts again of this and Cowgirl Coral and Liquid Sunshine. Stir this up a bit. Equal parts, as far as I can tell. So we'll try that. It's a bit different, but not all that much. So what I'm going to do is add more yellow so that we're going to end up with maybe 2 parts of yellow to 1 part of the other colors. That gets it a little bit more to an orangey. Yeah, that's more of a more orange now. So I needed to add quite a lot more yellow to that. So I'm going to say this is like 1 to 1 to 2. So 1 part cowgirl coral, 1 part marquee, and 2 parts yellow to get this warm orange. You know, and we can imagine what adding white would do to those mixtures. Just make it a little bit lighter. I'm going to clean off my little mixing plate because I'm going to move away now from the reds and oranges for a little bit. And I don't want to contaminate, I guess. Whoops, I got a little bit of cowgirl coral on the side of my drop cloth. That's just going to have to add to the ambiance. Let's come in here with liquid sunshine. And white swan. Cleaning the brush in some water and the white really pales that liquid sunshine out pretty quickly there. Ooh, it's a pretty yellow, buttery yellow color. In the last house I lived in before where I live now, we had a room that was right by the front door. Eventually, I set it up to be kind of like an office with a desk that no one ever really sat at, but I stored kids' coloring books and toys, and it became a little play area for the grandkids. But we always just called it the yellow room because everything in it was this beautiful buttery yellow. The sofa covers, which my mother and I made together. She did the hard parts. So we had slip covers for chairs and sofa, that color. The walls were painted more or less that color, and it was just like sitting in sunshine to be in that room. So there's that. Rinsing my brush again. And what should we add? Let's add cowgirl coral to the yellow. So we'll go cowgirl coral, 1 batch, and I think 2 yellows. That really kind of seems to have brightened up the cowgirl coral. The liquid sunshine is bringing it to another level of brightness here. Oh, I quit writing things down. I better get back to that. This one was marquee, cowgirl coral, and see what happens if you don't write them down right away. Cowgirl coral, 1 to 1. This we added, I'll have to go back and watch the video to write that one down. Write them down when you make them, guys, or record yourself and then you'll have a record of it. But this one is liquid sunshine, and White Swan, and they're kind of done 2 liquid sunshines to 1 white. This guy is liquid sunshine with cowgirl coral, and it was 2 to 1, 2 yellows, 1 cowgirl coral. I would like to try now mixing a little bit of red into that. So I'm just gonna add a little red to what we mixed with the cowgirl coral and yellow. It's not terribly different from when we didn't have any yellow in it. So I'm going to put a little more yellow. It seems like for yellow to make much of a difference, we need to use twice as much of it as some of the stronger colors. Yeah, this isn't terribly different. A little. There's some subtle differences between these two. I'm going to add more yellow yet and just see. So that's what we get from that. So I'm going to write that guy down. It is cowgirl coral, marquee, liquid sunshine, 1 to 1, I would say to 3 parts of yellow maybe in there. So if I want it much lighter, I'd need to add a lot more yellow. Let us do red and yellow, just the 2 of them together. So I'm going to wipe my plate away again. I'm going to go light with the red because I know I'm going to need quite a bit of yellow to make a difference. So liquid sunshine, about twice as much, I think. And hope I don't run out of liquid sunshine anytime soon. All right, going 2 to 1. Still very similar to these. I'm getting lots of very similar colors. So there may be a round 2 of mixing warm colors for me. There's that guy. So that one down here is just marquee and liquid sunshine, 1 to 2. Let's move on to some other fun colors. Wiping the plate clean again, or more or less clean. We'll move into some of these blues. I'm going to mix the blue with some liquid sunshine. That should bring it to a green, right? We remember that from school. I know that blue is a really strong mixer, though. It tends to be a real powerful color. So, cleaning the brush. And I'm going to mostly take this yellow and add just a tidge of blue to it. See what kind of green we get here. So this is a green from Liquid Sunshine. I would say 2 parts of yellow to 1 part of Hey Sailor. Makes this really pretty green. I have to tell you that I love mixing colors, and I will probably do a giant paint swatch cloth, mixing every color with every other color and all the variations just to see what I can come up with. Spread that out a little bit more with some water. I'm going to add some more yellow back with that, and then white. See if we get a lighter shade of this. Now, I didn't use as much yellow, so this is kind of more of a blue than green. It kind of reminds me of a robin's egg blue. I love that color. So that, for me, could be one of the keepers. It's Hey Sailor, Liquid Sunshine, and white. Writing that guy down. Hey Sailor, Liquid Sunshine, and White Swan. I'm going to say it was 2 to 1 to 1 with the Liquid Sunshine getting extra hits because yellow just doesn't mix real well. What happens if we add more white to that color? Obviously, it will get just paler. I'm going to try that one right here. So those are the same colors, but a lot more white. You can see that just with these 6 colors, I could have endless possibilities here. And then this was Hey Sailor, Liquid Sunshine, and white. It was more or less 1 of those, 2 of those, and 2 of those. So we're going to come just with Hey Sailor, and I'm going to mix it into Fancy Farm Girl. We'll get some kind of a blue-green. Let's see how it looks. Yep, that's a nice one. We probably should try to get some purple by mixing the red and blue together. That would be nice to represent on here. So let's try that. Wipe away my plate. Actually, before I do purple, I think I would like to try mixing the green with the liquid sunshine. See what kind of it'll give us some kind of green, right? But what kind of green? Ooh, pretty limey. I like it. So that's some Fancy Farm Girl, and Liquid Sunshine gives us, it's a nice leaf green kind of color. All right, now I have 2 squares left on here. If you wanted to make your color mixing chart gorgeous, and you could practice mixing and little bits on paper before you commit to the fabric. Wiping the plate, just getting into equal parts now of the marquee and Hey Sailor. So I want to do this one, and then I want to put a fair amount of white in there and see what we get. This is a very deep plum color. I think it's a lot like Cherry Picked, the color that we can buy pre-mixed. It's reminding me of that. So Hey Sailor and Marquee are giving me a look that reminds me of Cherry Picked. So there's that. I'll write that guy down. Hey Sailor and Marquee, 1-to-1. And now I just want to put a bunch of white, and that's going to be my last color sample I can get on this. I still have more paint, so I can still mix more colors, put them on paper, get my own hunk of drop cloth fabric. I'm going to put a little bit more white. Don't want to put my dirty brush in there. A little bit more of the white with that. So now I would say we have Marquee and Hey Sailor, 2-to-1. Look how pretty that is. It's a little more purpley than French Millinery, which here I have a French Millinery. They're similar, but this one is a little more browned. This one is a little brighter. So you can play with mixing these colors to no end. You can get so many possibilities. And I think this makes an awesome, it's going to be a nice decoration in my studio. And, just demonstrate some of the additional color mixing and custom colors that you can make for your own signature process. So I'm going to switch my camera back. I think I'm going to remove that, just come back over this way. Oh, I'm still there. Well, you can still see the color chart. I'm going to edit this video for my YouTube channel, and hopefully it'll be helpful in the future here. So anybody who joined me today, I want to thank you very much. If you're watching on the replay, I thank you very much. And I'll be looking for questions. If anyone asks questions, if you're interested in buying a color mixing recipe kit or coming into the shop and playing around and having some fun with me, just let me know. Drop me a note, private message. My cell phone number's on my webpage. You can call or text. Or just stop by 3121 St. Croix Trail South in Afton, or my webpage. I'll stick that banner back up. Move the phone out of my face here. So we'll turn the ticker on just to remind you what we've been doing here, who I am. I'm Liz with Liza Jane Designs. You're either on my Facebook page or my YouTube channel if you're watching this, so thank you for that. Consider please liking and subscribing to my YouTube channel. I hope to get better and better at posting and sharing useful videos related to art and home decor and all the fun things. So thank you again. Mwah. I will be seeing you next time.